Muncy from Samson's Haircare. We're a men's grooming brand and manufacturer based out of Kalamazoo. Samson, if you don't know who he is, I'm not Samson, my partner is not Samson. He is a biblical character. So in the Old Testament or the Jewish rabbinical writings, Samson's the guy who gets his strength from his hair, and we took the legend and went with it. So next slide. So our identity as a brand is pretty simple. I think a lot of people tend to associate brands for hair care. They think Unilever, and it is good business. Unilever's been at it for a long time and made a lot of money. I would consider us more so as a small craft beer brand about 30 years ago. So the people who really like us will find us. You know, half my sales, I'm in 12 countries now, so I'm shipping to Vietnam, Singapore. These people are really high commitment customers, and that's how we really sell all of our stuff. So I came on board July of 2019, quit my banking job because timing is really a specialty of mine. We made it through those first 6 months and then our world shut down. And for the last 2 years, it's just been a lot of growth and grind. Like it says, we're at 180 retailers now. So that's a decent sized presence, not anywhere close to where I want to be. But wholesale has really been our focus. I think a lot of people, especially in this area, they really get you make it yourself, the crafting thing. They don't necessarily understand that our goal isn't to compete with the next booth over at the craft show. Our goal is to compete with Unilever, Johnson & Johnson, the really big guys. You know, we always try to ship next day and get to you as fast as we can because I'm not trying to compete with the other small brands. I'm trying to take more people away from Amazon. That's how I view it. And like I said, we have a 12-country presence. That's been our latest really big project, is getting completely legal for the European Union. In the U.S., our industry is really unregulated. That's a wild west as far as what you want to put in it, who you want to sell it to, anything like that where you want to get your ingredients, no analysis necessary, which is kind of scary. Was really necessary for us to start. You know, our check just to get compliant with the European Union is the biggest one we've ever written. And we would have never got off the ground if that were the case here. So that's really been our next one. Next slide, please. So our current focus right now is onboarding independent sales representatives. That was a piece of advice I got recently, and then the way the universe really worked it out was we had a good opportunity to show up weeks after, and it just was perfect. And I think that's going to be a good fit for us. If you have ever shopped in any of the small lakeside boutiques, we're all from Michigan, we vacation in Michigan, which I thought was weird when I moved here. Didn't leave the state to vacation. I get it now. But we have all those boutiques up and down the lakeshore, and we're filling a niche there. There was a brand called Duke Cannon, which had really fit in well. If you're familiar with the soap on a rope, that was their big thing. You probably got one for Christmas at some point. Duke Cannon recently, as of last year, went into Target and Walgreens, which really was unfortunate for all the lakeshore shops because they had no reason to carry Duke Cannon anymore. You know, if you can go to Target, you're not going to drive to South Haven to get it anymore, which worked out well for us because people still like to buy beard products, hair products, that sort of thing. So what we're doing right now is partnering with those independent reps, working on their commission basis to grow that market because it's been really good for us. Next one is European Union compliance. When we agreed to do it, we were convinced by a competitor. I say competitor, but I also think we're kind of like craft beer, like I said, kind of a rising tide raises all ships sort of thing. So we called our nearest competitor in Durand, Michigan, and they let us know, this is who you go with in Europe. They'll be a good distributor. This is how much they'll buy. Here's the process you go through to get legal, which was awesome. That was a 5-minute conversation, which I did not realize was like when you try to lose weight and someone says, well, you eat fewer calories and you work out more and you'll lose weight, right? Saying it's the easy part. Doing it's the really hard part. And that's going to be a huge project. Essentially what I'm doing is right now I'm creating a bibliography for a dissertation that my partner wrote and didn't save any of his notes. So that's honestly going to end up being a couple 100-hour project right now, which is good because in January our market kind of slows down. You know, our industry doesn't pick up till around March. That's when everybody starts. Spring comes, we get our haircut, we go on spring break, it picks back up for us. The other thing we're working on is securing our first distributor. So we have the agreement with the company out of Poland. Why Poland likes American hair products, I cannot dive into that. But they do, and we're excited to go there. So that's really been how I've been spending all my energy, is building up that relationship, where we're going, how it's going to work. Next slide, which brings us to the future. Right now, we're going to Poland first instead of picking up a distributor in the US, because if it goes terribly and we have no idea what we're doing, at least that's all the way in Poland. And you guys are going to have no idea. That was kind of our thought process. So our first thing is, how are we going to land our first US distributor? We're kind of in this awkward dating stage with a lot of them. You know, we both swiped right on each other. We think we're cool, we just haven't really defined the relationship, as we would call it. So that hasn't happened. The other thing is landing more independent sales reps. For us, it happened super organically. You know, it was really a conversation between Adam and I about 2 months ago, where he was like, I think this would be a good idea for you as an aside to another thing we were doing. And I filed it away, and I was like, yeah, I'll work on that in January. And then 2 weeks later, I was going through my spam box and had a group of independent sales reps reaching out to us. I don't think that scales very well, just waiting for them to show up in my spam. So that's really our next goal. Our next two questions that we're trying to answer right now is, how do we define the relationship, get them on board with the first USA distributor, and how do we land more independent sales reps for our business?